This is Jodia Vanel with Biz Talks. Welcome to another episode. We're so happy that you've joined us again today to watch, learn, and hear from our entrepreneurs. This show is all about you. It's all for the entrepreneur and the small business to grow and learn. Today we're featuring Dixie Lincoln-Nichols, the CEO of Inside Outer Beauty. I can't wait for you to hear from this mogul and for her to tell you about her story and why beauty starts inside and then goes out. Welcome to another episode. Again, I'm Jodia Vanel. I am the CEO and founder of NESVANMAR, a management consulting and project management firm. Today, we have the pleasure of speaking with Dixie Lincoln-Nichols. Hi, Dixie. Welcome to today's show.
Hi, Jodia. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here during this time to chat so I can share my business with you and your beautiful audience. Thanks so much.
Thanks for joining us today. Dixie, can you tell us a little bit about your business?
Okay, so my business is Inside Outer Beauty Market, and we are a multicultural, toxin-free marketplace that's curating products for beauty, personal care, household care, and wellness that supports the body inside and out. So, of course, because of COVID, our brick and mortar is currently closed. However, we are operating online. Our business deals with beauty for all people. It originally started for women, really, because it's an extension of what I was doing in my life at the time, but it's grown and evolved. So it's for everyone now. There's a huge emphasis on women's needs, but it focuses on beauty products and also wellness products. So we don't just look at makeup, and we don't just look at the things that you can put on your skin. We look at what you can put on inside your body, into your organs, so that you can have great skin and you can have great functioning organs that will really make your body feel good all the time, because that's what we want. We want people to feel as best as they can with the products that they put on and in their bodies.
I know. And so the name of the company is perfect. It all starts from the inside and it moves outwards. So here we go. Inside Outer Beauty with Dixie.
Yep.
So Dixie, you kind of alluded to some of this, and we're just going to get straight into it because you are a business based out of Allentown, Pennsylvania. You're a brick and mortar. You're also online. But as you mentioned, your business is currently closed. Just go through that experience and how you're dealing with that during COVID. It may not be the best experience, but are there any things that are coming out that's positive from this?
Oh my goodness, yes. There are so many lessons that I'm learning every single day. I mean, the experience has been at times traumatic, for lack of a better word, but it's felt traumatizing. This is a business like everybody else's business that we've put our sweat and our blood, our dollars and cents into, and they're our babies, and we're seeing them sort of, some of them being obliterated right now because of COVID. So it's been trying. But the thing is, because we want to hold on, I know because I want to hold on to my business, I feel like there is such a need for it before COVID. And of course, after COVID, there's going to be a need for it. I am doing everything in my power to hold on to it, to continue to spread the word, which is why I'm here. And I thank you again, to continue to educate and to show up, because the problems that we face as a community in wellness and in beauty is not going to go away after COVID goes away. So I've asked myself a lot of questions. Should I stay open? Should I hold on to the brick and mortar? How do I pivot? What do I need to change to adjust to this time? What do I need to do to evolve with what's happening? And so all of those questions I'm addressing every single day. And little by little, I'm finding ways to circumvent and to navigate and to turn these lemons into lemonade so that they can work for us, not just for me, but also for the people who I'm here to serve and to support.
Yeah, our business is like a baby, like a family, like a marriage. Through thick and thin, you have to work with it. And, if you keep on putting in the work, hopefully at the end, good things will come out of this. So I have no doubt that after COVID is over with, you all will be better than ever. Better than ever.
Yes, let's affirm it and let's put it out into the universe. Absolutely.
So, Dixie, I hear an accent, and I know that you have some roots also in New York. How did you come up with the idea to move yourself to Allentown, Pennsylvania, and start up a business in that market?
That's a really great question. And the accent comes from Trinidad and Tobago. So I, so I grew up for the first 16 years of my life in Trinidad. Originally, I lived with my grandparents in a very small village with less than, I would say around that time, 250 people, probably. And that might be stretching it.
Very small.
Very small. So I had a very tight community growing up. And, the community, of course, was an extension of my household. And so many people in the community were family members. And so we had a beautiful upbringing. By no means in today's standard would people consider it rich, but for me, it was rich and enriched with so much, including this ability to take from nature what it gave and turn it into beauty. And so I remember learning to extract coconut oil in the kitchen with my grandmother. And she introduced me to all kinds of arts and crafts, including ones that were good for the body. And those are the ones I gravitated to. I always loved science. I loved biology, which I ended up studying later on in life. And so all of that played a huge role in terms of the direction that I traveled and the path that I took. So I was a teacher, a biological science educator in New York City for 14 years. And
shout out to all the teachers. I think today is officially Teacher Appreciation Day.
Much love and much respect and much honor to all the teachers out there. You are the backbone of this country, okay? You educate.
Truly.
Yes. So, I bow down to you and I thank you so much. And as a former teacher, I know the grit and I know the love that it takes for people to stay within the profession. And I left the profession, not because I didn't love it, but it was because I know it was not the path that I wanted to take in terms of how I educate. To me, that path was different, and I decided to take a self-care sabbatical from teaching. And I went in search of what it is I really wanted to do and how I wanted to do it. And so, long story short, all of that led to the realization of Inside Out, a beauty market, because it was me working on myself and giving to myself and pouring into myself that led me to utilizing the skills that I already had in the biological field, the biological science field and the health science field, and sort of incorporated all of that into this Inside Out, a beauty market, because I understand that beauty is not something external. It really is a whole package. It's an essence that begins within and sort of diffuses outside. Like in science, you learn that, diffusion takes place from where there is more to where there is less. So I believe that that essence begins inside and diffuses on the outside. And so when we look at skincare or any kind of care for the body, we start inside and that radiates to the outside.
I love hearing the genesis of how people came to start their business, hearing about the cultural aspect, what inspirations there are. So I want to know, at what point did you have your aha moment? Aha, wow, this is what I'm going to do. This is going to be a great idea.
Got it. Well, prior to starting Inside Out, a beauty market, I had an aha moment, honestly, way back in 2001. And I started a business and pivoted really quickly because 9/11 happened. And I was like, I am heading back to work. I'm going back to teaching. This is going to pay my bills. This is my bread and butter. Forget about that business.
You have a PhD in crisis because you've gone through 9/11 with your business and now it's COVID-19.
Exactly. And I'll tell you something really funny. The other day I said to my husband, I said, you know, had I stuck to my guns back then in 2001, I would have been okay. But I was so scared at the time. I turned and I ran away, and I ran to what was safe at the time, and it was teaching. And I sunk myself in teaching. I loved my subject area and I loved my students, but it really wasn't where I wanted to be. And so, you know, I left that alone. And while I was teaching, I had this aha moment. I said, you know what? I'm going back to what Granny taught me. I'm going to go back to the body. I'm going to go back to basics. And people like Lisa Price had inspired me prior, you know, with Carol's daughter, and the fact that there weren't a lot of people like us out there. And I said, wow, this woman can do this, so can I. So it had been percolating inside of me all the time, and it just wouldn't go away. And so I honored that, and I decided to create my own recipes, and I did. And I came out with a product line that had 3 SKUs. And we got some really good reception and good feedback from the public. We were featured in InStyle and in Redbook and Natural Health Magazine and a bunch of other places. But still, there was more. I know there was something more that I needed and wanted to do in terms of the products that I was making. Mm-hmm. And that's when this idea of products that did not contain toxicants, that did not contain ingredients that can potentially harm your body, really started to take over, really started to take forefront in my mind. And so when I left for my self-care sabbatical, I took a pivot and I decided, you know what, I'm going to immerse myself in some really deep education here around this whole issue. I went to the UK, studied there for a while at the School of Naturopathic Medicine, and then I came back to the US. And once I came back, I was like, this is it. Clean beauty is really where the future is, and we deserve it. Our people deserve it as well, because when I looked at the statistics, man, it was just depressing. You know, women of color are spending in excess of $7 billion, probably closer to $8 billion annually on beauty products, searching for something that matches their needs, searching for something that's good for them. And what they're getting is the most toxic ingredients on the market. And I was like, no way, this is not right. It doesn't feel right for me, because I know, because of the person I am and because of how much I love the body and love biology, I would go out there and I'll read labels. I understand the ingredients. And so I wanted to bring that back into the communities, but also to be a greater part of the community where we were being marketed great products and safe products, but also we would be able to bring artisans together, bring vendors together who are making safe and effective products, and share that with the rest of the world. So everything came into sync really nicely, and Inside Out, a beauty market was born.
Well, Dixie, anything that you are selling, I'm going to buy it, because your plant life game is on fleek. Those plants are magnificent. So you must have a green thumb, that science background. Something's working, because those plants are phenomenal.
I have my grandmother to thank for that. That's not science, trust me. After being stung by a bundle of wasps back in the Caribbean, helping her to water her plants, I swore I would never touch them again. And then nature started calling a few years ago, and her lessons came right back to me, like they did with my beauty business. And so I just honored that. And look, see what happens when you listen to Granny.
I don't know if a lot of people know that I actually grew up in the Caribbean. I grew up for my first 6 years in Jamaica. And I think it's a rite of passage to be like stung by a wasp, because I was actually stung by a wasp when I was in, I think it was like first grade or pre-K or something like that. And I know I had to go to school, and I was so embarrassed and mortified by this.
And I was stung by about 20 of them. So after that, it was like, no way. Oh yeah, face was swollen, eyes swollen. It was terrible. But I came back full circle. It came full circle, and I'm loving it, because these are my colleagues right now, and I hang out with them. This is my interview spot.
Yeah. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So you mentioned a couple of things about just like the market and not having a lot of representation. And then there was Lisa Price, who was really a person to spearhead that market and introduce people of color to the beauty scene. And then fast forward, there's some game changers like Rihanna, like Melissa Butler from the Lip Bar. Have those truly been game changers in the market?
Yeah, you know what? They absolutely have been. And we're in different sectors. And I say they have been because there was no representation for women of color. I mean, we were going into the Sephora's, into the Ultras, into all these other outlets, yet we were not finding enough of a variety, enough diversity in product. And not just in product, but also by artisans, by vendors and manufacturers. When you go into these places, you see a 2% people of color, and that's Latina, Asian, and Black, right? And that's not proper representation. So people like Melissa and Lisa really stamped what representation looked like, what it's supposed to look like. We're Black, and this product works for us, and we're making this for women who look like us, right? We're not, women like us are not an afterthought. We're a forethought. We go into the lab creating products specifically for the women of our culture because no one else is. The bigger brands are not. The bigger brands are jumping on board after the fact when they realize, oh, women of color are spending so much money. Let's see how we can capitalize on their, on their spending. And that's what they do. But we want people like Melissa who'd say, well, you know what? No, women of color deserve to have products made for them. And so we're going to go out and meet that demand. And of course, we'll make money while we're at it, but they're a forethought, not an afterthought. So they're definitely making their mark, and we need that, but we also need a lot of other things aside from that. And that's where I come in, and there are other brands out there that are addressing clean beauty, because this is a whole nother issue by itself, right? Mm-hmm. There are ingredients in beauty products that have been proven to be harmful to the body. Some of them are carcinogens, some of them are, they can affect fertility, some of them are neurotoxins, some of them are allergens, some of them affect your reproductive organs, etc. And so knowing this, it's only fair that people who are concerned, and I'm not saying that the others are not concerned, I think there is a growing awareness, and eventually it's going to catch on to the people who needs to catch on to. But the people who are ready to say, hey, enough is enough, let's start the change here, we're the ones who are out there saying clean beauty, or I like to say toxic and free beauty, is the future. I say 10 to 15 years from now, it's going to be the standard of beauty, because you already see the bigger companies adapting and changing to meet the demand of safer. And so that tells me and others, well, you don't really need those toxicants in the products now, do you? You don't need them in the ingredient pack. If you can switch and you can pull them out and still make effective products, it means that we can do without them. So I love the trajectory that's happening right now. And I love the fact that Black women are stepping out. I expect that as time goes by, a lot of companies will continue to evolve. And that's what we want.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. I mean, I have been a buyer of clean beauty for many, many, many years. I have frequent breakouts. It's as if like I'm a teenage girl. And I used to go to Sephora and I used to always ask, do you have any vegan products? Do you have any cleaner products? And at the time, maybe over 10 years ago, it was only a few. And I won't even name their names because we're talking about, your products right now. But it took a long time, and I see that the market is starting to get more and more brands coming in. But what I'm particularly proud of is also to know that people who look like me are creating these brands, and maybe they may understand my skin a little bit better. So kudos to all of you all who are putting in the work and, really bringing things to a diverse market.
Absolutely. Thank you.
So Dixie, this is a question. You may know the answer, you may not, it's fine, but I like to know, we're talking a lot about like spending habits, right? You've dropped a lot of gems on what people are spending, especially Black women. What is a purchase that you have made for your business that's under $100?
A purchase that I have made from my business.
For your business.
Or for my business that's under $100.
The best purchased.
The best purchase I've made for my business for under $100. The shelves in my store. You know what? No. I'd say the plants.
Of course, your plant life is on fleek. And I actually saw some of the shelves in your store, and it actually looks amazing too.
Yeah, cumulatively, they cost more than $100, but all of my plants together cost less than $100. And again, they make me happy, and you get to bring the outside inside, and they make other people happy, and there's such a conversation starter, and they bring some good oxygen into the store. So I would say that's my best purchase under $100. Yeah, and I got plenty for under $100.
That's a really good one. I thought you were going to say like a business like gadget or something like that. Plants, I mean, their life, they keep on giving and giving and giving. So,
and there they are accompanying me through this crisis. I mean, friends for life.
Friends for life. And also your therapist too.
Therapy, yes.
That's awesome. Okay, so since you're in this wellness space, I want to know, and in particular for a lot of women in business and just entrepreneurs in general, what do you do to unwind?
Yes. Okay, so I have a huge toolkit. Because I took the time out to go on this self-care sabbatical, it really introduced me to something that I hadn't experienced before, that I wasn't taught of before, and that's the concept and the idea of self-care. So it's me first and foremost. And I do so that I can fill myself up in order to support all of the people that I support, including my family members and the people in my business community and my customers. If I'm not well, they're not well. So my best restorative practices for me are prayer, which I do. It's the first thing I talk to God before I get out of my bed in the morning. Before I do anything, it's prayer. And then I love Qigong. And Qigong, I'm also now a certified Qigong instructor. So I've been having classes, and it's very grounding, it's very calming, it's very centering, it's very restorative. So those are the two things I feel center me the most, more than anything, especially during times like this when I need to really get down. When I say get down, but just get to the ground and be still. I mean, connect with the ground. It doesn't have to be the earth outside. It could just be the floor. It could, it could be my bed or the chair, but I just sit still and I bring those practices into me, and they help me solve a lot of issues. Yeah.
And then on the opposite spectrum, right? When there are times when we may be finding challenges and it's hard for us, we're going through a moment as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, what do you do to actually recharge and get back to being focused in a better space than you were before?
As an entrepreneur, okay, so when it seems overwhelming for me, I like to drive. My husband and I are road hogs. We're on the road. I mean, we drive through the United States of America. We just drive. We just go driving just to drive. And so when I need to recharge and when I need to, just bring myself back, I go on drives, and I just sort of reconnect with my why while I'm driving. Why did you do this? Why did you start this? What does this mean for you now? And what does it mean for the future? What's the big vision? and who are you really trying to support? All of those things go through my head. I mean, driving is one of the most cathartic things I can do for myself. And so in business, in turbulent times, I love to get in the car and drive and sort it out during my drive, because I can think about a lot. And I don't always have to be driving. My husband might be driving and I might be in the passenger seat. But again, just
I'm always in the passenger seat. I actually take my longest naps while driving.
I love it. I mean,
while being driven.
It's fun, right? Sitting in the passenger seat.
I'm like a dog. I love the wind in my face, the sun basking on me. I love it.
That was me this past Sunday. I went for a drive after seeing you on your drive Saturday. I went for a drive and I texted my sister and I said, I just want to put my whole body out the car like Jim Carrey did. And just be like, whoa, you know, but that's the joy that driving brings me and the restoration that it brings me. So again, yes, and I've done this many times throughout my business journey when things are just feeling so rough and just so tumultuous. I get in my car and I drive, and that's why we had to go for a drive on Sunday. I was like, we gotta go, let's go up in the mountains. And we just drove up into the mountains for 2 hours and then came home, and that brought so much clarity to me. I got to think again, I got to go back to my why I'm doing this, why quitting is not in the forefront of my mind right now, and why I feel so excited. I'm like, girl, you're excited. I mean, stuff is crazy right now, but there is excitement bubbling in me at the same time. And I had to kind of sit with that and like ask myself, what is that all about? And I think it's the love for what I do. I love what I do, and I love the way I'm doing it. And I love the connection that I have with people. And that to me means everything.
Oh, that's awesome. Awesome. So Dixie, before we go, can you share any solid business tips for aspiring entrepreneurs, small businesses, corporations, anyone who's watching today?
Absolutely. Because I'm dubbed the self-care connoisseur, that's just what somebody dubbed me, and I decided to keep it many years ago. I would say always take care of yourself. You are the engine. And I say you're the engine because you're the idea machine, first and foremost. And you're the one who has brought this thing to life. And without you, there is nothing. So take care of yourself, pour into yourself. And that can look a lot of different ways. That can look like getting mentors and connecting with like-minded people. It can mean taking courses so that you can educate yourself and be in the know. It can mean having mentees yourself who you can pass down a lot of what you've learned to. It can mean collaborating with people and partners. There are so many ways that self-care and taking care of yourself as an entrepreneur and as a person in business can look like, but I encourage you to take the time and do whatever is needed to keep yourself filled up in this business. That's what, okay, I can give more than one tip?
Of course you can. This is your show.
That's
it's
one
all
tip.
About Dixie.
Okay, perfect. So that's one tip. And the other is sort of like three wrapped into one. I love to say, you know, sometimes we're searching, we're not sure we want to do this. You know, we have this thing inside of us that just will not go away. You know, it's there, you put it aside, but it keeps coming back. I say explore it, whatever it is, give it a chance. So if you feel like there is an idea burning inside of you that you want to share with the world that just will not go away, it won't go away. So give yourself the opportunity, honor that thing that you feel inside of you and take a chance, see what happens. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. I've done a lot of things that have not worked out, and that's okay. I've pivoted, I've switched, I've quit some things as well, but give it a chance. So it comes down to basically being aware. So be in total awareness of what it is you want, and then accept that that's what you want. So that's kind of like the second piece, accept. Right? You can either reject that this thing is there and you want to do it, reject it, and it's just going to eat away at you forever and all eternity, or you can accept that it's there because you've become aware that it's there. So now accept that it's there, or don't. And then the next thing you do is take action. What are you going to do? Of course, if you reject that it's there, there's nothing else to do. You go on about your life. But if you accept that it's there, then guess what? Take action. What is going to be my next step? How can I bring this thing to fruition? How can I share it with the world? How can I get it out of me and into the universe? And that's when the journey begins. Because when it's inside of you, it's just there. It's not going anywhere. It's potential energy. You want to turn it into kinetic energy. You want it moving and taking on a life of its own. So honor whatever it is you're feeling inside of you and give it a chance. Go for it. I always love to say that jump and life and God will catch you. Yeah.
That was beautiful. Acceptance is such a difficult thing, but when you actually accept, you break away the shackles and you're completely free to thrive and do whatever it is that you want to do.
Absolutely.
Dixie, thank you so much for joining us today. Please let us know, where are you parking? How can we get in contact with you?
Okay, so you can pull up to Inside Out.
We're pulling up. We're pulling up.
You can pull up to Inside Out of Beauty Market on Instagram, Inside Out of Beauty Market on Facebook. You can find us on IO Beauty on Twitter, because Inside Out of Beauty Market is just too long. And you can also find us on our website at Inside Out of Beauty Market or iobeautymarket.com.
Thank you so much for this talk today. It was magnificent.